I've decided to go ahead and put on or install the input jack plate, and the way I'm going about it is basically based off of a guy who's got a lot of videos about Strat build on YouTube. I think they're about 7 years old, so it's kind of dated, but it still applies. I mean, the Strat hasn't changed, so I think the username is SMB Stress Fest or something. He used to work for Musician's Den or something like that. I'll try to put the link below in the description. Editing all these videos is going to be a bear, and I can't imagine this guy. He had 35, I think, videos or more about assembling a Strat. Now, he did not do anything he didn't do any finishing of the body or neck. Didn't do any relicking, and I don't think he drilled any holes in the neck. So there's a few things that he didn't do, but he was very meticulous about a lot of the other things. So, I just put some tape and I put down, and again, this is sort of the same thing he did, but you just kind of guesstimate the middle lines there. And really this line here isn't much of a factor. I thought it might be, but it really doesn't come into play. There's not a lot of movement this way, which is what this line would be sort of a guide for. If I go this way, I start hitting on this curve where the plate is kind of curves down concave into the little hole there, I guess, the indentation. And then if I go this way, I start hitting the back of that jack. Now, when this guy did it that I'm talking about, he actually had a cord installed in the jack. So I don't think it matters that much. I mean, what sticks out the most is actually the little switchcraft jack itself there. So the plug doesn't make a whole lot of difference, but of course it doesn't hurt. I mean, just to have one to check. But yeah, so anyway, what really kind of comes into play is these lines here, because there's a lot of play this way. See that? So yeah, so I've got my lines there, and so when I get comfortable with it, I don't have any kind of awl or anything. I'm just going to take a nail, kind of make my my indentation. I'll probably just make a big, mark with a Sharpie or something to make sure I've got the hole there. But then one thing I did notice is that, these holes here and here, if you were to draw a straight line through them, it would almost pretty much intersect with the trim arm hole. So, and I looked up some photos of some Strats, and that seems to be the case too. So that looks about like what I have going here. Just imagine a straight line going through there, and I think that's pretty much the right spot. So I'm gonna mark my holes and drill, and it should be good to go, barring nothing going wrong. Okay, so here's a word of caution. I would advise putting this, I don't know which one's ground and which one's hot. I really suck at electronics, so I have to go by wiring schematics and things like that. But yeah, this piece right here, and I'll try to research it, and I'm sure I'll know by the time I edit the video. So I'll put some blurb up about what this connection actually is. But this is the piece that actually contacts the plug, the 1/4 inch jack. I would put this piece down as low as possible, down here instead of like up here, or twisted to one side or the other. You see how I have it orientated? Sorry, I've got some amber color on my finger there. Because as you put it in, the surface of the guitar, the cavity, the route is going to be like that. So if you have it up here, it may intersect or hit sooner than you want, I guess. Because when I was putting this in, I noticed as I was getting really close. I could see the edge of the route on that hole right there. And you don't really have a lot of distance before you start seeing either end of the little cavity. So I'm going to make a mark where I think is sort of good on both ends, where I'm not getting too close. And then I'll see where that's at. But yeah, just a word of caution to orient that jack that way. I haven't researched or heard anybody else do that, but to me it seems like probably the best method, so take it for what it's worth. This is where I ended up making my Sharpie marks. I don't know if you can tell, but this hole, or this mark here, is a little closer to the cavity than this one is. So I may kind of shift these this way, the holes, just because I don't want this to be too close to that edge, and I want to just have them as equidistant as possible. Since this is the first time that I'm actually drilling into the guitar, I wanted to use a scrap piece of wood. This is actually the piece that I was hanging up the body with. You can see all the black spray paint there. So this drill bit, I believe, is a 5/64, but it's always good to just test it out. And that's something I'm not typically good at, is having the patience to do something like that. But I drilled that hole there and I put the screw in. I didn't use any kind of lubrication for this, but it went in just fine. I'm gonna use, got one of my wife's candles here, so hopefully she, wow, there's an ant. Holy cow, okay. Successful kill. Yeah, so hopefully she won't notice that I've got chunks out of her wax, but anyway, yeah, she doesn't care. So yeah, I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna try out this countersink also. Might as well just show you. The thing about this, I got it from Harbor Freight. I didn't realize at the time, but there are different angles that, you know, a lot of them are like 40 degree, and this one is, oh, it's got a 45 degree chamfer. Some are more like 80 and things like that, but more shallow or deeper, I guess I should say. So I'm just gonna, you know, do this by hand and see if it gives any kind of, countersink, which I believe is giving a bit of one. And I could use the drill, and I might end up doing that. So we'll just see, and I'll let you know how that goes. But this does kind of have this screw does kind of have a place for it to kind of sit down into the body. So I'll try that out, I guess. Sorry for the camera work, and let you know how that goes. One other thing, this is kind of common sense, I guess. Just don't forget to mark your drill bit with some tape or something, so that you can, you know, pretty much guesstimate, and it doesn't have to be exact, but that you have the depth of your screw on there, so you have a stoppage for your drill bit. Because the last thing you want to do is drill through the body of your newly finished guitar. As many hours as I spent on this thing, I definitely don't want to go poking through the body all the way. Not that this drill bit is even long enough to do that, but, you know, just to be safe. I didn't really countersink these holes too much. There are my holes, you can see there. I did give it a few little twists, but not much. I think countersink, or the shape of the screw and whatnot, is more for that little indentation on the plate there. Forgive my terminology, it's super late at night, I have toddlers, and I'm really tired. But and that's probably not the greatest time to be working on something like this, because you can make mistakes easily. But yeah, I don't think really the countersink is too necessary for this input jack plate. But I'm going to screw these in after I put some wax on them, and everything should be good to go. I still actually need to relic these screws. They're still kind of shiny, but I'm just going to put some sandpaper over them and call it at that. I don't really feel like they need to be rusted or anything, so I'll do that and I'll show you the results. So there's my relic screw. One on the left has been scuffed up and the one on the right has not. So there's not a lot of difference, but you can maybe tell that the shine is gone off of that one on the left. And that's pretty much all I'm going to do. I think I used like 220 grit sandpaper, so something pretty aggressive. I thought, what the heck, I had my vinegar and steel wool rust solution right there, just sitting there. So I thought I'd just put some of that, dab it in there in the screws, just to give it that extra relic look. Please forgive my nails, I bite my nails, they're so disgusting. But yeah, that's how they're going to look. It may come off, you know, it may not, but it is sort of acidic. It may, you know, start the rust process, but I'm not going to wash it out because it'll just come right off. Hopefully it doesn't totally rust the screws within like a matter of months or something stupid like that. But that's my process, and again, I'm not an expert. I'm just flying by the seat of my pants here. So it looks good though for now, and hopefully it functions properly. You know, in retrospect, I probably should have countersunk these holes a little bit more. You can see the finish kind of like just maybe bulging up there a little bit on that one, maybe that one too, maybe not so much that one, but something like that, countersinking would help. Now on this guitar, it doesn't matter a whole lot because it's a relic. You know, either way it's going to be covered up, but if you're doing something like a new project, that's just something that you want to keep in mind, that something like that may happen. So countersinking your hole is probably a good idea. Okay, input jack is installed and in place. There she is. Let me get this light out of the way. Nothing too special, no big real issues that I encountered. I think everything is good to go on that.